to see how we can process a CAP specimen for bacteriology. The first thing started from the receiving of the kit. Usually the kit came with in a box like this. First thing, we have to check the label in the box, which will contain the hospital name and address and a tracking number of a shipment. Then we will check for the temperature for this kit, and usually we receive it in 37 degrees room temperature. But after we used it and process it, we need to keep it in fridge. Each kit will contain this paper with it. The first thing is the kit instruction, which is contain the instructions on how you will process the specimen. And the other form is for the result entry. And it will contain also a brief history about the type of the specimen and the history of the specimen. Okay. Usually for bacteriology, we are receiving 5 different type of specimen. Okay, it can be wound, it can be blood, it can any type of specimen can be received. Okay, in this kit, by the way, this specimen is already processed, but now we are doing for demonstration. This kit contains blood and sputum, deep wound, and also chest tube drainage and urine specimen. Okay, now we are going to show you how we are going to process this type of specimen. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of specimen we receive. Each specimen contain of 2 swabs. And there is diluent used before culture. So this is the numbering. This is starting from D15, D16, 17, 18, and 19. Okay. There is a very important thing that CAP specimen should be processed as we are processing our patient's specimen. It shouldn't be by different way, because CAP it's want to know you have to use the same method you are using for patient specimen. Okay. After that, we are going to log this specimen in our computer system and give it accession numbers. Okay, and it is ready. Then we will start to process it. Okay, now after we enter our information to our computer system and accession number generated for all the specimen, we will have this our barcode. We will start with the first specimen, which is D15, and it is blood. So our procedure, blood will be cultured in 3 plates: blood, chocolate, and makonki, in addition to blood for anaerobic culture. Okay, we will come, as you know, labeling is very important step in microbiology. So I'm going to label it. And date should be mentioned. The date should be mentioned because, as you know, the specimen should not be processed. We have to do 2 subsequent subculture, then we can run our ID and sensitivity for the specimen. Okay, so okay, now we labeled our specimen. Now we will see how we can culture it.
This is the diluent, huh?
Yeah, this is the diluent.
Okay.
As we mentioned earlier, that each specimen contains 2 swabs and 1 diluent. So now we will open the swab and open the diluent. Dissolve the swab in the diluent. And then make it in the plates. As we said, we have 2 blood agar plates because one of them is going to be incubated anaerobically. After we distribute the specimen in all plates, then we are going to do a normal streaking. Okay, now we're done from the first specimen, which is D15. This one. Okay, now we will come to the second specimen, which is D16, and it is sputum, which is respiratory. Our policy here, we are processing respiratory specimen, sputum or tracheal or endotracheal, in 3 different type of plates, which is blood, chocolate, and McConkey. As we did in the first step, we are going to label it again. Again, we will mention the date. Okay. Again, the same. The specimen contains 2 types of 2 swabs. We will use one of them, and this is the diluent. As we did in the first step. Yeah, we will continue the same procedure. Blood agar, chocolate, and McConkey. Yeah, now we will streak it. Usually I will start with blood. Then the chocolate. Then the McConkey. Now we will come to the third specimen, which is wound. For wound, we are using blood, chocolate, McConkey, Colombia, and Sabarot, and all this will be incubated aerobically, and in addition to Brucella selective media and LKV media. This is for anaerobic, in addition to the cooked meat as enrichment media. Okay, we will label it again.
These we're gonna incubate them.
Yeah, after we finish, we are going to incubate it.
What about these?
This will be incubated anaerobically. This will be incubated aerobically.
Okay.
And these two plates will be incubated anaerobically. Okay, the same procedure which we did in the first two specimens, we are going to follow again. Usually we start, or always we start with blood, then chocolate. We start first from a basic media, then we'll go to a selective media. We will start the streaking. As I said, I will start from a basic media, blood, chocolate, then we will come to the differential and the selective media. This is Colombia. Colombia is selective for gram-positive, and this is a Sabarot dextrose agar. It's for yeast and fungal. We come to the anaerobic plates. According to CAP instructions, all anaerobic plates should be kept for 7 days. Then this is a cooked meat, which is enriched media. Okay. The last thing, we'll streak anaerobic plates.
The two.
Yeah, the two plates, which is anaerobic. And of course, metronidazole disc should be added, because as we know, all anaerobes are sensitive to metronidazole. We didn't mention the date, we need to mention it.
For the cooking meat.
For the cooked meat also. Now we will come to the next specimen, which is urine. Our procedure, we are processing urine in blood and McConkey. We will label it as usual. The difference here, this only the plates which is going to be incubated in O2 37 without CO2. All the rest will be incubated aerobically in presence of CO2. Now we are going to streak it. This is not the normal type of streaking of urine, but if we received a real specimen urine from a patient, we are going to streak it by a way that we can get a single colony. But because this is not, it's a CAP specimen, so we are streaking it by the normal way.
By what?
By normal streaking.
Okay.
Yes. So we will label it with the date. Okay, now we set all our plates and streak it. Now we will come to the step of incubation. Incubation is different from specimen to a specimen. For example, for urine, all our specimen will be incubated in aerobically and in presence of CO2, except for urine. Urine will be incubated in aerobically at 37 degrees, but without CO2, which is this incubator.
For how long?
For overnight, 24 hours. Okay. For other types of specimen, blood and wound, 2 specimen of wound, and sputum, it's going to be incubated aerobically in presence of CO2. Okay. For wound, except for separate, it's going to be incubated in another incubator. Now we will take this to the incubator.
With the presence of
CO2.
CO2. Okay.
This is the incubator, 37 degrees and 5% CO2. We are going to incubate it, and we are doing subculture for 3 times before we are processing for identification and sensitivity. Again, cooked meat also is going to be incubated aerobically, CO2.
For how long? This one?
For 24 hours. Every 24 hours, we are going to make subculture.
Okay.
3 times.
Okay.
This is the cooked meat. We are going to incubate it in CO2 also.
Also for 24 hours.
For cooked meat, it's for 48 hours. We are doing subculture from a cooked meat after 48 hours.
Okay. Then we're gonna run the tests.
Yes.
After incubation done.
After incubation done, we are going to do the identification and sensitivity.
Okay.
Okay. For the separate dextrose, we have incubator. Temperature 30 degrees.
Okay. For how long?
For 24 hours.
Okay.
Okay. Anaerobic plates, always the recommendation of CAP is to be kept for 7 days before to be checked. But before we incubate it, we have to add the metronidazole disc. I will add it. Okay. We will use alcohol swab
Before we use the
forceps
the disc
to guarantee that there is no any
contamination.
contamination.
Okay. We do alcohol swab. Okay.
Okay. Then we will take the disc. And we put it here between the first and the second streaking lines. And we will continue same procedure for all plates. put it in the anaerobic jar, and we are going to use this kit to generate anaerobic condition inside the jar. As we mentioned, it should be kept for 7 days. So today is 24, so it will be open on
2?
yeah, December 2. So this should be open on December 2. We will put this on and we will close our jar. And we will incubate it at 37 degrees.
Okay.
This is for
No,
7
7 days.
for
Okay,
7
yeah,
days.
yeah. 7 days.
And now we done from the processing. After we process our specimen and get our results, now we need to enter it to the result form and then to the CAP website. We are entering it to the result form by using codes. These codes which is available in the kit instruction. Okay, after we, for example, we have our method, we are using Vitic 2, so the code for Vitic is 109. Our first isolate in blood specimen is Escherichia coli, and the code for E. coli is 1149. We will fill it, and then we will come to the computer and open the CAP website. We'll come to the result form data entry. This is all the shipments sent to our lab. I will look for my kit number, which is DC 2018, which is available here. And we will use it. It will be load and enter our result. As you can see, we will enter the codes for each, for the method and the isolate. Okay, at the end
You have to do submit, right?
before you submit, you have to enter the
Yeah,
lab director name
yeah.
and the kit number and the technologist or personnel who perform the test. This space, if we have any exception code, we have to describe and give explanation about our exceptions. Then we will submit it, approve and submit to CAP. And then we will wait for our result. And all results should be reviewed within 1 month of receiving. That's all.